narrow, and McGovern's magical season continues.
Another face-off won by Carolina. They're 4 for 4. Tyeryar over to Tillman. Syracuse sent Johnny Rachuza out to the face-off X that time. High rocket. There's more weight on Spallina's shoulders than there was on Powell's shoulders on his team at Syracuse, which was, what, coming off a national championship.
And I think what makes lacrosse such a fascinating sport, they share very few athletic traits, okay? Mikey Powell might have been one of the fastest, quickest, most explosive players. Joey Spallina's not fast. The trait they share, though, the eye, the mind. Joey passing, always on time, always on target. His mind's a step ahead, moving and getting in and out of sticks quickly.
You're Carolina, you're probably thinking, okay, we'll give Griffin Cook that shot. Career 18% shooter, and he cashes in for his 9th of the season. And the face-off battle continues to be lopsided in favor of UNC. Tyeryar wins the draw.
It's been the storyline of this in this game and play too much defense. You just cannot afford, not sure what the goaltender there was thinking on that turnover.
North Carolina now 7-1 on face-offs. Tyeryar over to Matt Wright, former All-American.
So if you're Gary Gait, Dave Petramala, and you're Syracuse, okay, the face-off game here is getting away from you. Knowing that, Anish, you got to come up with possessions in some other way. Whether it's saves, you got to clear the ball efficient. Carolina wants to make a true NCAA tournament run.
Matten's a freshman, Egan's a sophomore. Egan, part of the #1 recruiting class in the country a season ago. Another face-off won by UNC. They continue to press downhill.
They respect Tyeryar, though. You see this? They're playing him like he's a real player.
Tyeryar shovels it back. And Quint, the other aspect of this game, going to Rutgers where the Scarlet Knights are so tough to beat.
Rutgers is a different team at home.
There's English. Trail check, well timed. And a whistle from behind.
Quarterback type attackman behind the net. Strong right-handed tendencies, but what I like about him is he's got his eyes up, equal distribution in terms of the ability to pass or shoot.
His dad, Jim, was a baseball player at North Carolina. Spent some time in the Cincinnati Reds minor league system. Played 5 brothers, Connor and Colin, both played their final seasons at Rutgers. CJ at Cornell is one of the top Tewaaraton candidates this year. Caden in high school, and for Mom Michelle, travels a little easier this year. One son playing at Cornell, one at Syracuse, only an hour apart. Bodies flying, no flag.
Syracuse converts. Their extra man is as good as I've seen across the landscape this year.
Fine to the bump from Marr. He goes down. Marr picks up the ground ball. Another face-off to Carolina. Quickly the other way. Here's Tyeryar. He's got 12 goals. Tyeryar being trail checked and fires wide. 2-time All-Conference and All-American 2 years ago, and a team captain last year.
It's a virtual Lewis and Clark going from St. Louis. Lindenwood, our D1 friends now in Missouri. The first
start the 3rd quarter. North Carolina has won 13 out of 17, make it 14 out of 18 at the face-off circle. Here comes Tyeryar. On a bounce to McGovern, skips it toward the middle. Flag is down. Hiltz had 3 helpers in the first meeting against Carolina. 5 points that day. Carolina won 19-13. Fine pops that one in the air. Toward the sideline, out of bounds. We get a loose ball push on North Carolina, so Syracuse ball. Last year.
He's got an interesting stat line. It's kind of like Paul Clark. Look how many assists he has, Anish.
0 for his career. But he's a goal scorer. He's got 38 career goals.
Excellent on the extra man from mid-range.
That #1 ranking in the polls has rotated through the ACC. Virginia's had it most of the season. Notre Dame's now had 2 turns. Duke has had a turn as well. Here's Tyeryar. Barton. And Syracuse will live with that. You're going to win a face-off, you got to play it back.
You mentioned Notre Dame, a real odd time for a bye week. You know, it'll be interesting to see if Schertzinger can find a way in the PLL, Premier Lacrosse League.
Two-way guy?
As a two-way guy, yeah, as a two-way guy.
Tyeryar punches it ahead. Big ground ball now, 50-50. A lot of white shirts. Flag down as Murphy emerges from the clouded wrath. Stalemate between Fine and Tyeryar.
Withholding by Fine. He had his stick clamped on the ball. The words in the rule book are immediate. Immediate. You've got to get that ball out immediately. Press, you drop to your area and cover the man who comes closest to you or covers in your area. That's the same concept in lacrosse there. You're in your house formation, your zone, but you got to actually cover the guy.
Fine looked to have won the faceoff. He just couldn't pick up the ball. Now Tyer's got it. Tyeryar all the way. Goal number 13. He's not a Fogo. He faces off. He stays on. And he's North Carolina's highest scoring midfielder. 7 straight games with a goal.
His shooting percentage is off the charts as well. Basically a 50% shooter on the season, who in the last 6 games have scored 12 goals. Every time he shoots, it looks as if he has no idea where it's going, and it goes exactly where he wants it to, in the fashion that he wants it to. He's a tough read. I'm just going to say it that way, Anish.
So as a goalie, does that give you a little pause?
Absolutely scary. It's that pitcher who has no control, who's either throwing it over your head or right down the pike. You have no idea where Tyer's shooting it. He doesn't have a body language that gives you cues.
A lot of sticks flying, and finally, it's McGovern. McGovern, goal line extended, skips it to the wing. A chance here, shot, score! Ty English. He was pegged as a breakout candidate this year. Part of that defensive midfield, he's now scored in 4 straight. And this is where Carolina can hurt you. Guys like Tyeryar, guys like English, they can get scoring from outside of the traditional 6-on-6.
Right off the face-off, it's down the side to the point. Rotate the ball counterclockwise. And English bags that one from mid-range. Anish, you did the research this week, and you looked at those numbers. They're significant. Remember Maryland last year, between their poles, their Fogo, and their shorties had almost 30 goals. So what's Carolina's total right now?
25 coming into today.
It's big. That's a lot.
There's Matt Wright. He can score.
So that's that extra midfield. You often talk about where are you going to get extra scoring? Well, if our defensive personnel, our Fogo and our wingmen can be offense, Wes Jennings and Jamesville DeWitts and homers that you used to see.
Tully's, Carthage. We had the Powells were from Carthage, the Hardys from Tully.
I think the socioeconomics of lacrosse, unfortunately, have changed, and that has hurt the Syracuse program.
Unsettled, McGovern, current top 3. Notre Dame off this week. Duke beat Virginia today. Maryland at 4. And what's interesting about the ACC, with only 5 teams in the league, no automatic qualifier, so every selection from the conference eats up an at-large bid. Right now, you've got 3 locks. Carolina probably in. A lot of lacrosse left.
It's amazing. Gary Gates got, what you said, 3 Canadians on that extra man, Anish? But they're all great passers.
Great passers.
Like you pointed out this week, for years, for decades, Canadians are known for what?
Scoring that this program has not had a whole lot in the last decade. Late in the game, you need some magic. Back in the day, Quint, you know what it used to be. Give it to number 22.
And that number 22 varied from decade to decade. This program's always had star power. Will Bowen at Georgetown. And there's a lot of question marks to eligibility. Like Sam Handley can enter the transfer portal and play another year lacrosse if he so determines that that's in his best interest. He has that year. I had a conversation with him a couple weeks ago. He's an entrepreneur. He's making a healthy bar, like a bar. Critical goals by Joey Spolina, both unassisted here in this fourth quarter.
Quint, from an expectation standpoint, Syracuse is where it's supposed to be. Nobody expected this to be an NCAA tournament team. Not this year, not with so much youth. Here's Aviles all the way, and the orange bench explodes. You're watching a young team grow in the final stages of a season. You're watching a young team loaded with freshman talent start to tap into its potential. Whether it happens this year or it's a springboard to next year, there is some excitement back in Central New York with this lacrosse program. The Orange have a 2-goal lead with 6:17 to go.
Man, he accelerated out of that face-off scrum. Carolina player lost his edge down on the ground. Next thing you know, Aviles bursts out of there. Carolina chooses not to respect him. He goes sidearm and makes him pay.
Now Tyeryar. Does he have the answer? McGovern missed the cage.
That's what McGovern needed. Got to work his angle toward 58% with the most saves nationally. There are some visual flaws if you're like a textbook goaltender.
Rich Usa, who lost his starting job a few weeks ago, wins the face-off for Syracuse. He's 3 out of 9. Tyeryar has taken the majority of the draws for North Carolina.
who we spoke with pregame. I saw that last week also, and I forgot to say something about it.
Big face-off. Tyeryar wins it for Carolina, and he is a threat. Scored today. He scored in 7 straight. Dumps it back to English, who
sending one wing into a defensive posture. Looks like it's on the far side, Sam Alexo.
DeMarco and Schertzinger on the wings. Tyeryar picks it up. Tyeryar drives past Rachusa. Tyeryar still going. Tyeryar to the crease. Shot off target. Time expires. There was a flag down.
Syracuse is offsides.
But Carolina played it out. And Syracuse gets a 15-14 win.